They have been mostly adopted in the last 3-4 years. A few of them still does not have finance and implementation plan, but we are working on them. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what we are doing right now. One thing that for me is a great value for our urban villages is our culture of collaboration. I think that makes our urban villages work. And it's a collaboration by a variety of aspects that I will go through them. But it's a partnership. There are a variety of stakeholders that are involved to make the urban villages work. We have 3 forms of collaboration. One is inside the city department, one between agencies and nonprofit organizations, and one between us and the community. And I'm going to explain one of these type of collaboration. So between partner agencies, we work with the adjacent cities for the urban villages. Like city depends on the urban village, but city of Santa Clara, Cupertino, or Campbell, or with the regional government, like County of Santa Clara, VTA, and Association of Bay Area Governments. And also we work with a variety of nonprofit organizations in a weekly or monthly basis. One of the most active ones is SPER, but we also work closely with Knight Foundation, Downtown Association, San Jose State University, AIA, and a variety of nonprofit groups and neighborhood associations. We have a few urban villages right now in the process. The 4 active ones just right at this moment are East Santa Clara Urban Village, Winchester, and Santana Valley Fair Urban Villages, and Stevens Creek Urban Village. These are the 4 we are working right now. But we have others that we are planning to finish by the end of this year. So I was talking about collaboration and what makes our urban village planning unique. And I would like to inspire for more collaboration. Hopefully we can keep up this type of collaboration. So as an example for Winchester and Santana Urban Village, first of all, we have brought the adjacent cities to the table. We work closely with our city council on I can sometimes say on a weekly or daily basis. We involve them with every single decisions that we make. So they are partnered with us. They are not like advisory group who review the document, but we engage them on a weekly basis. We also work collaboratively with the other departments, like for example, Department of Transportation and Department of Parks. They have city staff that are designed to work on the urban villages. One of them, Doug Moody, I think he is on the panel of transportation today. Then we also have a Winchester Corridor Advisory Group that we have had over 22 meetings with them for the last 2 years. And also we are flexible in how we work on these urban villages. For example, I was also the implementation planner who reviewed a project in these urban villages. So it's good that we can both review the project and do long-range planning, because we can see the practice of the policies we write on place and see how they come into blossom. We have also worked with other nonprofits. For example, we work with American Institute of Architects, who volunteer their time and their architecture and graphic expertise to come and help us and run the meetings and the charrettes and the workshops. And they also gave us more staffing for running the workshop meetings. And we were very lucky that we had them to work with us. So that shows that staff from Gensler office in San Jose, they're helping us to run the meetings for Blossom Business Urban Villages. We also, as many of you in this room may have been involved in this project, we work collaboratively with San Jose State University for the East Santa Clara Urban Village. We like to keep it as a model for urban villages. We had 3 groups that were involved. One were artists who not only were involved in designing the workshops, but they also move around a kiosk that had a word on top, our lives in these places, and they're moving this kiosk around neighborhoods for East Santa Clara for 3 months, and they were asking people on that neighborhood, how do you feel about this place? And also, Conn University has created a technology for online engagement, and San Jose State University students who help us give out the board, but also help us run the meetings. And we would love that the students run the meetings, so they are not just people who help us, but people who actually do the planning work. So Rick who is sitting here, he actually helped us a lot in managing this process. He was the professor for that class. So these images show some of the postcards that were on that kiosk of our life in these places. And these images of people shows the actual community member who were interviewed during the process, and they were used as community engagement public art. Also, we had lots of community engagement for the Alameda Urban Village. For example, we had the SPUR and BTA review our documents. We also had very great collaboration with the Neighborhood Association. And the result was the document that was really appreciated by the community because they were highly involved during the process. So I was saying about how we as urban village planners, we sometimes review projects. So this is an example of a project I did. It's in the East Santa Clara urban village. The image in the left shows what it was when at the beginning it was submitted to the city, and the one on the right shows how we worked with the developer and the architect to create better quality architecture and design for this project. And I'm hoping that this project, which is a student housing and is affordable by design, becomes a catalyst for the East Santa Clara urban village, because that urban village needs more development. This is another example of a reserve mixed-use project in Winchester urban village. Again, I was the planner who reviewed this project, and we tried to implement many of the good urban design and architecture practices for these urban villages. So I'm going to talk about the future of urban villages. And by that, I'm going to impose a few questions that we all should think, and I necessarily don't have answer for all of them, but I would love that we all think about it. Because I consider everyone to be a collaboration in this collaboration of planning. The first, I want to talk about the future of retail. And my question is, will online shopping change how we should use or design our ground floor retail? Do we still need mixed-use development? Maybe yes, maybe not. And because the reason is yes, because restaurants, bars, and entertainment venues create a type of quality places that online board cannot. And that quality is a sense of community, as a sense of place. But if we were, but it could also be flexible on how we do our ground floor retail, so that they could be changed to other uses if they do not work. What is the future of our parking? Our affordable, if we want to do affordable housing, micro-unit apartments, and if we want to go with the route of autonomous vehicles, what are we going to do with our parking? Our existing parking ratios do not work if we want to have affordable by design or micro-units. So we have to think what we want to do for the parking. What is the role of parking? What is the role of public art? The role of public art should be to make us more aware, not only more aware of our surrounding environment, but also our community and societies. The benefits of using art and culture is for us to tap into a unique character of place that goes beyond that specific place and have larger impacts. Hopefully, we can use art to have more impact in our transportation, housing, employment, and society. And what is the future of our transportation? For example, for the SB 743, We are changing the city's measurement for level of service for CEQA impact to vehicle mass travel. So we are doing it now. We are going to do it now differently from what we did it 4 years ago when we approved these urban villages. So what are some of the things that we will encounter in the future? Like, for example, with all this Uber, Lyft, and all this type of shared economy. What is the future of housing? We are having the city's inclusionary housing for sale units. We have the city affordable housing impact fee. We are in the process of approving the city density bonus program. But what are some of the other things we should consider and think about while we are doing planning for our housing? What is the future of sustainability? With our recent flood in the city, we may think of how climate change is changing the way we should design and advocate for our neighborhoods. And finally, what is the future of our public spaces? How are we going to plan for our open spaces? Recent protests in public spaces demonstrated and reinforced the value of public spaces, not only as physical places to congregate, but also as a place in which we can collectively voice our concerns, no matter what are our public, no matter what is our political views. These demonstrations show us that streets should be considered as, and reminded us that streets should be considered as places for people. And they should be able to hold a variety of activities and should be designed flexible enough to accommodate social and civic activities. The best places are, I'm going to finish with that the best places are not forced, but they are often spontaneous. They grow out of the most random and intimate activities, and they become the canvas for art and activism. For example, the image on the left shows an activity that was done both in New York and San Francisco subways as a spontaneous, quick practice for artists who engage public as a healing process about the result of elections. So we should think of how we want to think our both public spaces and our neighborhoods based on what we are confronting, but also be flexible enough to plan them to respond to what happens in the future. So with that, thank you so much for listening to me. I hope that would be a productive meeting for you today.